Hey everyone, thanks for trying to learn to play games. My name is Lance, and in today's video I'm going to be playing through the latest expansion to Catharsis, which is Divine Wrath. This is a game by Cyber Wizard Games. It is a 1 to 5 player game that takes roughly 1 to 2 hours to play, and is a fully cooperative game where all the players are working together to defeat whichever boss they've selected. Now with this game, this is the latest standalone expansion, which means that if you don't have Catharsis yet, you can pick this up and this will have everything you need to play a full game of Catharsis. Or if you have other expansions or the core sets for Catharsis, this can be used in mix and matching the different heroes that you play and different bosses. So you can take some of the bosses from the other expansions and try out new characters or vice versa, or however you want to do it. And again, this is also standalone, so everything in here, or you'll get everything you need to play a game in here as well. Plenty of heroes and different bosses to challenge you and all the different tokens and dice and all that you need for the game. So in this video, I'm going to be playing using just this expansion. So I'm going to be taking on a brand new boss, the Ice Elf Lich, and I'm using 2 brand new characters. And with my Warhammer background, I could not resist the opportunity to take an Orc and a Goblin in this as my 2 heroes. And an interesting thing with heroes in this, they kind of go against the normal fantasy tropes with this one. So with my Orc, it is a divine Orc that worships a deity that is going to give it power that I can potentially use to go into and develop a vessel that I can trigger and do all kinds of interesting things with the Orc. On the other side with the Goblin, she is a world champion wrestler, and so with her you're going to build up different combos that you can use and then trigger some of her like powerful abilities and all kinds of different things. So she won't actually be activating different abilities during her turn. She's going to be adding combo tokens, and at the beginning of her next turn she'll trigger the top ability that has combos on it in the order of her choice. So she won't be exhausting different abilities until she actually triggers the bottom ability on cards once she has a certain number of combos that she's hoping to get with those. So it's a really interesting dynamic with her where you really have to kind of focus on building up some of her abilities and being able to trigger those at certain times and not take too much damage. So I'm going to be relying on my Orc to kind of soak up a lot of that damage so that my Goblin can get her combos lined up and be able to pull off those really devastating moves. So we'll see how that plan goes as the game gets into it. So in this video, again, I'll be playing through this. I am going to be breaking this up, showing you the first, middle, and end few turns, kind of taking a couple turns on camera and then a turn or 2 off camera as I play through this, as this particular boss goes through 20 rounds of different enemies before you actually face the boss. So I am going to be filming some of those rounds on camera and some off camera to shorten the length of this video. I am also going to be working on a teaching video for Catharsis, so let me know if there's anything you want to see in that, or if there's any other details that you would like that I should focus in on for that video. I'm always open to start a conversation and hearing from you. So as always, if you find my videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider that like button and subscribing to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can support channels like mine so we continue to grow, be able to produce this content. If you want to get notified anytime I drop new videos, also give that notification bell a ring, as I'm constantly dropping new teaching videos, playthroughs, unboxings, crowdfunding videos, and many others. So let's go ahead and head to the table, and we'll see how this one plays. Alright, so before getting into the game, I do want to go through the introduction and some of the setup and explain some of the different things that I'll be using in this particular video for this boss. So first off, let's go ahead and cover the introduction. So with that, battling the Arctic winds, each step feels like defiance against Mother Nature. The frozen wilderness whispers a harsh truth. These lands are never meant for the likes of you. Doubt creeps in, urging a retreat, but a promise to the village binds you. A vow to purge corruption staining their lands, as the cold tightens its grip, threatening to snatch your last breath. A glimmer of hope emerges as a mansion in the distance. You arrive at the door, but before you can knock, the door swings open, revealing a gnome. His eyes twinkle with mischief. "Ah, a visitor," he exclaims, with a chuckle. "It's been ages since anyone alive ventured into these lovely lands." Besides the Ice Elves and Santa Claus, of course, you look at each other skeptically, but who are you to turn down heat? The gnome ushers you inside, his hospitality already warming your hearts. He shows off his cooking skills, crafting a feast that exceeds all expectations. Each bite is a flavorful filled with spices. Yet you don't question how he has access to these spices. Some are from tropical climates. Here in the frozen north, as you savor the remarkable meal, the gnome listens eagerly to your tales of heroism, absorbing the warmth of your words. Oh, so you are real heroes. That's so cool. If you'll pardon the pun. As always, I've wanted to be a hero. You're not sure what pun he's referring to, but you go along happily with the conversation. Satisfied and grateful, you bid the gnome farewell. He thanks you for breaking the monotony of his isolated existence, and his eyes glimmer with mystery. Stepping back into the biting cold, you cannot shake the feeling that the gnome's presence was more than just chance. Continuing through the blizzard, the pain of the cold is interrupted by an unsettling sight. In the distance, a humanoid figure emerges, lifeless. Puppet-like strings dangle from its head, propelling it forward. The blizzard, the gnome, and now this zombie. What is going on? Okay, so with setup then, first off, before getting into that, I do want to cover a couple things. So there are frost counters with this, and these are going to have effects on the characters. So with them, each time you gain them, there's a chart here that I'm going to be referencing throughout the game, and it's going to have different effects that the heroes are going to be suffering from based on the number of tokens you have, and there are going to be ways of removing frost tokens. Now, if a character ever gets 15 frost tokens, then that character is going to die. So I'll have to be careful and manage the number of these. But again, as I build up the different tokens, or frost tokens, I'm going to have additional effects that are going to hinder me throughout the game. Next, I have kill point tokens. So as you strike the final blow, the foe explodes into limbs, gore, and are those tokens? Why do they say kill points on them? So each player starts the game with 5 kill points, so I have my kill points for each of my players. And I can spend those kill points during my turns. A player may spend them to gain the following benefits at any point during the game, so I can use these anytime. And there's a whole chart for these that I'll throw up on the screen so you can kind of see what the different effects are based on the number of coins that I spent. And I'm going to be playing through normal mode with this, as there is an option for hard mode, and that gives you an additional option of spending 5 coins for each player to unlock the secret ending. So that is the tokens. And then finally setup. So with the normal mode, I'm going to separate the different decks, which I have taken care of. And I'm going to set aside the boss, which I have done as well. I'm going to start the game with 2 monsters in play. So I'm going to reveal the top 2 monster cards in play. And then it says at the end of each round, up to round 15, and except for round 9, I'm going to add 1 monster to play. If a monster tries to join when there are already 3 monsters on the field, instead put the monster on the bottom of the monster deck and deal each player 1 damage and 1 frost counter. Elites, special monsters, and super elites and the boss join even if there are 3 monsters in play. On round 9, I'm going to draw an elite and it's going to join the battle. On round 16, I'm going to draw a super elite and it joins the battle. And on round 20, I'm going to add the boss, which is the Ice Elf Lich. And then again, there's a hard mode if you want to challenge that. I'm going to just be playing through the normal mode with this one. And so that is the setup. So from there, then I'm going to go ahead and reveal 2 monsters to start us out and see what we are up against. All right, so my first one is a monster, the Blizzard Lizard Wizard. Say that one 3 times fast. What you see before you most certainly is a wizard, and not quite a dragon. So you assume one of the lizard races of Trinity wiped out 700 years ago when they went on a rampage throughout the lands. To make matters even more scary, a blizzard aura is forming around him. He's chanting the words, "Blizzard, I prepare the way for you." Again and again. Who is this wizard? And why does its name make you shudder? But you can't think about that now. The zombie before you unleashes its blizzard magic, and you must fight for your lives. All right, so this guy with 2 heroes is going to have 11 health, so I'll go ahead and set a health gauge here to 11. And he's got some nasty abilities that I'll get into as it gets into his turn. And then the second monster I'm facing is a gnome zombie bomber. Oh, that doesn't sound very good. So you're battling through the zombie army charging you when you hear a bizarre sound. You turn to see a tiny figure charging towards you, waving a lit fuse and crackling maniacally. It's a gnome, or at least it used to be. Now it's a zombie with a gleeful look in its eyes and explosives strapped to its chest. You can't help but wonder what sort of gnome would invent such a clearly suicidal device and be so enamored with it that they jump at the chance to use it a second time. Probably the same sort that thinks snow angels are military units. Alright, so again, this guy has 11 hit points as well. So I'll drop him in there as well. And he's got his own stuff. So with that, his attack, he's going to do 9 damage to the party and to each enemy. Resolve on defeat effects from each enemy defeated this way. All right, and then special is boom goes the little gnome. After his monster's attack resolves, it is defeated. On defeat, if this is one zombie that surely isn't coming back, you hope. If you defeat this monster before it attacks, shuffle it back into the monster deck and each player gains 2 kill point tokens. You know he's dead. Nothing could survive that big of an explosion, not even something dead. If this monster attacks, each monster gains 4 kill point tokens and removes this monster from the game. All right, so that's good to know as well. And that is everything. So at this point, then I'm going to go ahead and move in to the player turns. Okay, so each round in the game is going to be played over a number of different phases. Now, an interesting thing with a lot of the bosses in Divine Wrath is that they're going to mix up that sequence. And so, for example, with the Ice Elf here, she is not going to start each of the rounds with a boss section where you're revealing a card. So with her, you're jumping straight into the combat rounds, and then at the end of the round, you're going to reveal the next monster card. So she won't have traps or different effects and events and things like that in her deck. So that's going to make her work a little bit differently. And then, like I said, with a new monster coming out, you're just continually going through combat rounds, and so that's really going to play to the strengths of Goes, as she is really going to benefit from that. So from there, ready to move into it. So first off, we're going to start with beginning of round effects and any triggers that happen with that. So at the beginning of each round, that's when Goes is going to trigger any of her abilities that she has combos on. She'll trigger the top effect of those. So she's not going to exhaust her abilities normally as when you activate them, but she won't actually activate them. So her abilities are going to have a delay of at least one round until they trigger as she starts building up those combos as well. So again, she's a really interesting character. So I don't have any abilities or anything to trigger at this point, and that's so ready to move into the character turns. So with this, I'm playing 2 characters, you normally are going to handle all this at the same time. So each of the players are going to roll their dice, and you can re-roll any dice you choose up to 2 additional times after that initial re-roll. And then you're going to allot them to your different abilities, triggering those abilities and carrying out the effects of them, and then exhausting those abilities by flipping them over. Again, with Go, she's going to work a little bit differently. So I'm going to go ahead and start with her. I'm going to go ahead and see what I get here, as it would be great to be able to get that one, but we'll see. Because that one needs quite a bit here. All right, I got a 4, a 3, a 1, a 2, and 2 5s. Wow, okay. So that actually is pretty good at a 5. So I may want to hold on to that. And let's see what else I have here. That one's also good. So I definitely want to hold on to the 4. And I think I want to hold on to a 1. And I think I'll hold on to the 5 and see what else happens here. All right, I got a 5, a 4, and a 2. So I have another 4 here. So that's good. And I got one more reroll. All right, let's give it a go. See if I can get it. A 5 and a 2 again. So no luck there. So from there, let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and assign the 5 to that, triggering that. So I'm going to add a combo to it. But again, I don't trigger the effect on the ability this round. It'll start at the beginning of next round. And unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot else I can do at the moment. So I do have a 4 and a 1. I could trigger that. But let's hold on and just see if there's anything else that my other player can do to help me out here. So moving over to Doric. Let's see if she can get anything. All right, so I have 2 6s, 2 5s, a 3, and a 2. Oop. Okay. All right, so Quick Strike would be really good to activate. I need a 5 or a 6 or a 1 and a 3. So I do have a 5. I have a 5 and a 6 for that. Well, let me choose 2. I could deal 2 damage, or I could deal 1 damage and up to 2 enemies. I can prevent 1 damage. I can gain 2 divinity. Or 2 players may adjust 1 die by 1. So that would be really good to have. So I think I'm going to hold on to those 2. And then being able to trigger that ability would be really good as well. So I need a 5 and a 6 to do that as well. I need a 1 to do it though. So I want to hold on to those or roll those. I can adjust 1 die by 1 if I trigger that. So I can guarantee to get that if I hold on to the 2. And I don't think there's really anything else at the moment that would be more beneficial. So I think I'm just going to hold on to that. All right, so I'm going to trigger this one first. So this one I'm going to choose, I get to choose 2. So I'm going to deal 2 damage to the Blizzard Lizard. And so he's going to go down to 9. And I'm going to choose 2 players may adjust 1 die by 1. So I'm going to adjust the 2 to a 1 so that I can trigger that. And on her side, I think I'm going to adjust this 2. Do I want to do that? So I wouldn't be able to trigger that anyways. I do. That's a 5. So I do have enough for that. So I could do the 2 1s and a 5. Otherwise, I have the 1 and the 4. So I think, or I could do the 2 1s on that. So it's either dealing, I think this is actually the better option. So I think I'm going to go there. That's going to add 1 there. And I have a 5 and 2 4s that I'm pretty much not going to be able to do anything with. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and trigger this one. So I get 2 divinity. And I get to prevent 2 damage coming our way. All right, and that's pretty much all I can do. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this one over because I've resolved all the effects of that one. This one I'm going to leave up because I do prevent 2 damage. So then I'm going to carry out the effects of that. And again, her abilities don't activate at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the Blizzard Lizard Wizard. And his attack, he does no damage. And he has a special, so its Blizzard magic doesn't only freeze, it blinds and blasts strong winds that make it hard to move. Each player gains a Frost token. When activating an ability, players must exhaust another power as an additional cost. So, makes things really nasty. All right, so we each gain a Frost token. So I have to use universal counters for that. So I'll place those on our roll card or above our roll cards to signify our Frost tokens. And that's all he does. And then over to the Gnome Zombie Bomber. So with this one, it's going to do 9 damage to the party and to each enemy. So that's why I did the 2 damage to the lizard, or the Blizzard Lizard Wizard, so that he would go down. And so it's going to distribute 9 damage to the party. This guy's gonna, or she's gonna prevent 2 damage with this skill. So it's down to 7. So from there, I have to choose abilities that I'm going to exhaust for that. So I need to take 7, so I'm going to go ahead and drop 4 on her. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so then I have 3 left that I can distribute over here. So I'll do this one here. I'll take this one here, and this one does have an effect that says if this power takes damage, I'm going to replace it. So I think that might happen right away, and I'll take this one here. So then I will discard that and draw the top card, which is I think going to stay exhausted. So I'm just going to place that there, and I'll find out what that is next turn. All right. So I took the 7 damage from my characters, and then this guy's going to take 9. So it says on defeat, the Blizzard Lizard, the Blizzard lingers behind. Each player gains 3 kill point tokens and 1 frost counter. Set this card aside with 4 time counters on it. All right, so again, we have to each gain another Blizzard token. We each get 3 kill point tokens. So there's 3 for my character there and 3 for her. And then there's 4 counters on this. Okay, so I'll place this guy up here with 4 counters on it, and 1 gets removed at the beginning of each round, I think it is, wasn't it? I didn't finish reading that, did I? Remove 1 counter at the start of each round. When it reaches 0, encounter the special monster Blizzard Lizard Wizard. Oh my goodness. Remove this card from the game afterwards. All right, so I'm going to place that over there, and that'll have those counters on it. And the zombie gnome bomber has been defeated. So if that was, so you know he's dead, but nothing could survive that big blast, not even something dead. If this monster attacks, each player gains 4 kill point tokens. Remove this monster from the game. All right, so he is being removed, and I'm going to get 4 kill point tokens for each player. So I'll do a 3 and 1, and same over here. So 3 and 1. Okay. All right. So from there, at the end of the round, a new thing comes out, but I'm going to, first off, I'll clear these. So they're all done with those. I'm going to go ahead and spend 3 kill points. I'm going to spend 4 kill points apiece to remove 1 frost token and refresh each one of my things. So on a refresh, because in this particular battle, I also don't have any morale that my characters would normally be able to spend to refresh. So I have to use those kill points to be able to do that. Okay. And I forgot to trigger her passive. So it says once per round. So it's still part of this round. Add 1 combo token to 1 power that already has a combo token. And I have 2 out here. So I'll go ahead and add it to this one here. Okay. Then these get removed. All hers get removed. And a new monster card comes out at the end of the round. All right. So I have a volcano elf. Before you is a very rarely seen type of elf, a male volcano elf. They're rare because their explosive magic tends to be uncontrolled, blasting everyone and everything in the area. For the protection of all the people and objects not resistant to fire, the men of the volcano elves keep themselves away from society and try to keep interactions with outsiders short. As such, little is known about them, but it is said that when a male volcano elf dies, their body leaves a flame behind that will never extinguish. You see through the holes in his body a small flame, amid one burning a range of unnatural colors. The thought crosses your mind that if you kill this thing, you may be able to use its dead body as a source of warmth. That is terrible. Wow. So each player takes a burn. Death has weakened the elf's magic, but with little magic flows out, burns non-stop. Each player rolls a die at the start of the round. If they roll a 1, they gain burn. Ugh. Okay. So that's interesting. All right, so he's going to have 16 health. So I'll set his dial there. And I forgot to take the tokens away from her, so I did decide to do the same thing. And again, that is triggering the kill point tokens to refresh and all that. Okay, and then I do need to pull out some burn tokens as well, so I'll go ahead and do that real quick. All right, so then I'll dial the token up one. So this is round 2. And let's go over the frost counters real quick. Make sure I don't have anything here. So the first notch on here is 2 tokens or more. One of your powers remains exhausted when spending 3 kill points to refresh. Kill point tokens. So obviously when I did that, I would have spent the first one to remove a frost token and then the other 3 to refresh. That's so that I had all my cards back. All right, so that is the end of that round. So moving into round 2 now. Beginning of the round effects come off. So first off with the volcano elf, he has a special, so it says that death has weakened the elf's magic, but what little magic flows out burns nonstop. Each player rolls a die at the start of the round. If they roll a 1, they gain a burn. So I'll go ahead and start with Goes and see what she gets. Is a 6, so she's good. And over to Doric is a 2. Whew. Okay, so I'm good there. And then beginning of round effects, so now those trigger the combos. So with this combo here, I can reduce the cost of any one ability by 1 die this round. And then I also have this one. It says to look at the top card of the boss discard pile and refer to the chart below. There are no cards in the discard pile at this point. So if there are no cards, I deal 4 damage. So I'm going to deal 4 damage to this elf here. And so it's going to tick him down to 12 hit points. All right, and that is everything for her. So then we're into rolling the dice. And then this doesn't trigger until card to 4 tokens. Remove 1 at the start of each round. Okay, so I will remove 1 token from that as well. So that has been taken care of. All right, so now we're ready to move into the player turns. So go ahead and start off by rolling her dice again. Let's see what Goes gets this time. It'd be great to get that set of 4s. All right, I got 2, so I'm on my way. And I have up high, down hard. So this one, if I get a pair, I can spend that to deal 2 damage. So that's good. I have a 2 and a 3 and a 5 and a 6. Okay. So I could trigger that again, which then would give me the 2 that I would need to target players reduce the cost. Target player reduce the cost of all abilities by 1 die this round. Okay. And you may replace this power with 4 combo tokens on there. All players reduce the cost of all abilities by 1 this round. That is pretty nice. I have the 4s. I don't have any 1s yet. So I'm going to go ahead and roll all those over again. All right, now I have a pair of 6s, a 4, so I'm almost there. So I'm tempted to just roll those over at this point. But, so I'll still be able to activate that. If I get at least 1, I can start working on that as well. All right, let's see what I can get here. There's no 6s right now that I would need. You just need one more. No more 4s. Okay, but I did get a 1, so that's good. And I can reduce the cost of any one ability by 1 die this round, so I can trigger that, so that's great. And unfortunately, that means that I won't be able to do that one, though, because I don't have another pair of anything. Unless the other player comes in again. Okay, so let's go ahead and hold there and see what the other player can get. Now, is there anything else I can activate here? I could spend 2 kill points, or two tokens, to gain 2 wild dice for this round. That could be pretty handy. Could be really handy, actually. Let's see. Yeah, I kind of like that. So I'm going to go ahead and try that. So that's 2 tokens. And I get 2 wild dice for this round. So I'll add those in there. So I'm going to get 8 dice. Let's see what I can get here. Okay, so I have a 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I was so close. If I could have just gotten a 2, I could have triggered this ability here, and it would have done an additional 3 damage if I wouldn't have had to re-roll anything. Well, I really kind of need that ability, I think. So I'll re-roll those. All right, let's see what happens with this. So this is my first re-roll. Pair of 1s and a 6. So that isn't really that helpful. Well, I'll hold on to the 6 and see what else I get here. And I got a 2. All right. So I got the 2 that I needed. Unfortunately, the other 2 is not going to do me any... Well, could do me some good. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and trigger this. So it's going to give me 2 divinity. And it's going to deal 7 damage. So it drops it down to 5 hit points. And I still have a 6 and a 2. All right, so he's got 5 hit points left. I can do the 6 here to deal 1 damage. This actually will be pulled off, and these will be exhausted. Okay, that can be returned at this point. This power does not exhaust if you are not the vessel, which I am not the vessel at this point. And then I can trigger this one down here to gain 1 divinity and deal 1 damage. So I deal 2 damage there total. So it's going to bring him down to 3. I did have 2 divinity at the beginning of the round. I could have adjusted a die to any value. So that would have changed on or been able to trigger this without the reroll, which would have done the 3 extra damage. So I think I will take a step back and carry that out as I'm still learning these characters. So this one is going to flip for dealing that damage, and I would have done the bonus 3 damage from that ability as I triggered that adjusting of the die so that I didn't have to do the rerolls to trigger it. So that's going to do the extra 3, and that's going to take that elf out. So let's handle this character first real quick. So I will be able to actually, something to get used to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and trigger this by using that ability. So I'll add a combo to that. And that goes away. And then I have a 1, a 3, and a 6. Nope, I don't think so. But I do get a passive. I can add an extra combo, so I'm going to add a combo there. Building up that power there. And unfortunately, that is I think everything I can do, because I don't think the kill point tokens have anything on there. I can remove a frost token. I can place one of my powers. I gain 2 wild dice for the round. Prevent 2 damage to yourself. Refresh all of your powers and roll. Deal 5 damage to the enemy. Yep, so nothing that really modifies dice. So these are simply going to be wasted as I don't have any other powers to activate at this point. And then this character has been eliminated before it attacks. So on defeat, the elf explodes into a fiery flame. A dream of warmth is gone, but things aren't as bad as they seem. Each player and enemy takes 2 damage. Each player gains 2 kill point tokens. 2, 1, 2. All right, we have to exhaust 2. So I'll exhaust this one. And that one. This gets removed as that ability doesn't exhaust. And I'll exhaust this one. And I think this one for now. Okay. Each player may spend 2 kill point tokens to remove a burn once. Shuffle this monster back into the deck. Oh, that's terrible. All right, so luckily I didn't gain any burn tokens. So that works out, but he is getting shuffled back into the deck. And I would highly recommend sleeves for these. They do offer sleeves for all this, and it just makes things a lot easier for shuffling in that as well. As these cards do have the very pointed ends, so it does make shuffling a little bit more challenging. All right, so that was taken care of. It is moving into the end of the round, so then I reveal a new monster. So this is an armored human. The armored human before you is wearing a suit of plate mail and looks like it should be on display at a museum. There's Feige, actually, honest to God's Feige, covering the chest piece ends and pauldrons, and that may be a monogram around the collar. Although you are quite okay not getting that close to verify that observation. He opens his mouth and you brace for an overly flowery speech, but he just moans. It's rather underwhelming. All right, so he's got 10 hit points. Okay. His attack, he deals damage to the party equal to this monster's remaining health. That's not good. Though his speech is ineffective, his armor isn't. All enemies have true defense. True defense is unaffected by armor shred and effects that ignore armor. It also applies to each attack rather than one for round. This ability affects this monster. Okay. So he's going to... It's unaffected by armor shred. And effects that ignore armor. It applies to each attack rather than for the round. This ability affects this monster. And on a defeat, when it explodes pieces of armor embered in other zombies, you grit your teeth in frustration. Each player gains 3 tokens and may refresh up to 2 powers. All remaining enemies regain a number of hit points. This can bring enemies to higher than their maximum health. Shuffle this monster back into the monster deck. Wow. Okay. So he's not very nice. And then we'll take the round counter up, and it is round 3. All right, so moving into a new round. Let's see. I have to remove a token here from that. And then I have abilities that are going to be triggering on goes here. And so he is going to reduce those effects, though, unfortunately. So he has a true defense of 2. So though his speech is ineffective, his armor isn't. All enemies have true defense. True defense is unaffected by armor shred and effects that ignore armor. It also applies to each attack rather than for the round. This ability affects this monster. All right, so I believe what that translates to is that every attack that he receives is going to be reduced by 2. All right, so she's going to do 4 damage to him, which would be reduced by 2, so that's going to drop it down to 2 damage. And then she also has this effect that goes off, and it's going to deal 4 damage as there's no card in the discard pile yet. But again, that's going to be reduced, so that's going to drop him to 6 hit points. And that's pretty much all she has. Ooh, I'm running out of options here. So, how many points do I have still? I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8. He has 6 hit points left. So I could spend 2 to heal myself 1. And then if I get lucky and activate both of those abilities, that would let me prevent up to 3 damage. But I'm not doing any damage to him either, so he's going to be able to dish out 6 damage. So I really need to be able to do more damage. I could finish him off with the 4-finger fracture, because I do have 2 tokens on there currently. So if I can activate that, that would take him out. Or I could trigger that one as well. If I get 1 more, which I'll have the passive combo to be able to put on there. Okay, so I might have to be a little more cautious this turn with some of this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with Durik and see what she can do first. Okay, so I have a pair of 5s, a pair of 2s, a 1 and a 4. So I need either a 1 and a 3 or a 5 and a 6. I didn't get either one of those for the quick strike ability. So I could technically hold on to the 1 and the 5, as that will also work for that. And I'll reroll all of these. 5 and a 3. Okay, so I got 3 that I needed. So that will activate the quick strike. Okay, I got a 5, so I don't need that anymore. Well, I could use that for that ability. So I need a 6 and a 1. So I can reroll all 3 of these and hope for one of those. Or do I hold on to the 5 that was here? Because I will be able to change 1 value if I select that. Okay, so let me hold on to that and see what happens here. So I get 1 more set of rolls. I got a pair of 3s. Okay, so that is not going to help. So I know I'm going to be able to use those for something. All right, so let's go over to my other character here and see what she gets. I'm going to drop another combo token on here with that, so I would need 3 of a kind to be able to activate that. Or technically with that, it would be a pair if I want to. And I got exactly what I needed too. 2 4s, 3 5s, and a 1. So I'm going to be able to use this to reduce the cost of this one, and I'll use this to trigger it. And I have 3 combo tokens on there. So I'll remove those and carry out the effects of this. So it says it's a combo. I get to look at the next boss deck card and refer to the chart below. So I know it's a monster. And it's going to be a Winter Wolf. Oof, it's going to have a lot of hit points too. Yikes. But it is a monster. And so I'm going to deal 10 damage to him. So that is going to defeat him even with the reduction of 2. I would still do 8 to him. So that is going to eliminate him. That'll flip that over, and I'm going to finish off my turn. So I'm going to use the pair here to drop a combo token on that ability, and the 5 here to drop a combo token on that ability. And the 1 is simply going to be wasted. Okay. All right, so defeating him. When Git explodes, pieces of armor embered in the other zombies, you grit your teeth in frustration. Each player gains 3 kill points. So that helps, which I'm basically going to I'm going to put these off to the side because I pretty much have to, well, I don't necessarily have to spend hers right away. I will be spending his right away, or hers as well, and you may refresh up to 2 powers. Hey, all right. That's great news. So all remaining enemies regain a number of hit points. This may bring enemies to higher than a max. Shuffle this monster back into the monster deck. Man, they just keep staying there. All right. So that's going to change the order in which, or who's going to come out. So it was going to be the Winter Wolf, but not so much anymore. All right, I used my ability, so I won't be able to do anything there. And I didn't even need to activate anything here, so I might want to just not do anything with this character, as opposed to having it take a hit there. Because otherwise, it's dealing damage. I didn't need to adjust any dice. I could gain 2 divinity, but I'd have to spend 2 just to heal 1. So it's kind of a wash. And there is no other ability that would really benefit at this moment to trigger. So I think I'm just going to hold there. And I guess I will hold on to those points, as there's no benefit. Well, I could spend... Let's spend a 1 point each and take these frost tokens off. So I definitely have a feeling with some of these enemies, those are going to add up pretty quick. All right, so next enemy coming out is an armored human. Okay, we got another one. Okay, so he's back out again and 10 more hit points. All right, and that is the end of the round. So a new round is round 4. And at this point, I'm going to take a couple rounds off camera, and then I'll be back a little bit later in the video to see how our characters are doing. All right, so I went through another round, but I did want to show this round as we're going to be activating this card here. So the Wizard is going to be coming out. So I wanted to kind of show him because I think that'll be kind of fun to see how that works on here. So again, moving into the beginning of the round, I'm going to go ahead and handle that real quick. So I think this gets removed. Yep, afterwards. And from the special monsters, I'm going to pull that guy out. Here he is. So this is the Blizzard Wizard Lizard. From the froggy portal, the creature comes. At first sight, it looks like the Blizzard Wizard Lizard you just killed, but after the fog subsides, you realize it's another creature. This is the Wizard, the Blizzard Wizard Lizard. You heard rumors of his existence, but seeing him in the decaying flesh is rather impressive. He wields his staff with precision and finesse, and eddies the magic swirl in his path, like snow drifting on the winds. His health is 30. Oof, this guy's got a little bit more to stick around here. And his attack, he divides up frost counters among the party. And then his special is, beautiful as his staff work is, the magic that it unleashes is anything but. It's deadly magic aimed to weaken and eventually kill. At the end of each round, each player sets aside 1 unexhausted power. If a player cannot, they die. Oof. Okay. So that's not good. So I have him out and I have a Winter Wolf out. So the Winter Wolf has 22 hit points, and it also divides up frost counters among the party. So between the two of them, they're going to be dishing out 8 frost counters a turn, or a round. So that'll be 4 per player. That is really bad. So I cannot go a bunch of rounds with these two nasty guys out there. So hopefully our players will be able to do something about this. All right, and I don't have any frost counters at the moment, so I've been doing really good at managing that. But one other important thing to point out with that is I can only spend up to 2 kill point tokens a round to remove frost tokens. So even being able to manage that, these two are going to be dishing out more tokens that I can potentially reduce the effects of by my players. So that's not good. All right, so moving into the other part of the beginning of the round is Goes. She's going to go ahead and activate her abilities, and she's got a bunch that she's got triggering now. So first off, she's going to do 2 damage, and I'm going to go ahead and do 2 to the wolf. Why not? And then I'm going to do 4 damage. So I'm going to do 4 on the wizard. So he is down to 26. Next, I can reduce the cost of any one ability by 1 die this round. I can prevent 1 damage this round, which unfortunately we're not going to be taking any damage. It's all going to be frost tokens. And then I get to look at the top card of the boss deck, discard pile, and refer to the chart below. There are no cards, so I'm going to deal 4 additional damage to the wizard. So he is down to 22. And that is everything that she can do at the moment for that before we get into the rolls. So I think I'm going to go with her next and see what I can do here. And that is a lot of 1s. Wow. All right. So, I have 5 1s and a 5. So what do I want to do? I have 2 counters on this. Okay, and I still have, I get to place a combo token out this round for the passive, so I definitely want to choose carefully what I do with that. This one's really powerful, but I'm going to need a lot of 4s, and I haven't rolled any so far, so I don't know about... If I put another one on there, I can do 8 damage with it if I can activate it. I have 1s up the craziness here. This ability I could do 5 damage with. So between the two, I could do 13. If I trigger both of those. I could also flip this, which lets me add 1 combo on up to 3 powers that already have 1 or more combos on them. So I could do that. That could be, that might be the time to pop that. So I think I will. I'm not sure if I can use the passive and the flip ability, so I'm just going to use the flip ability and place out 3 combo tokens. So I'm going to drop 1 here. I am going to drop 1 on that, so that there are 3 on there now. And I can do it on this one that does 12, or that one to get it up there. It doesn't have enough yet. All right, so I'll throw it on there and we'll see what we can do here. So I have a lot of 1s. So I think I'm going to hold on to a pair of them at least and try to trigger that. The question is, do I hold on to another one for that and hope for a 2? I'm probably not going to get enough for that. I can hold on to another one and hope for a 2. And then I still need another pair. Ugh. All right. So let's see what I get here. All right, so I got my 2. And I need a pair, so I've been rolling a lot of 1s. I'm gonna hold the 5, because if I get a 4 or a 6, I can potentially reduce it if the other player gets that. I do get to reduce the number of dice needed by 1 as well. So I gotta remember that, because that will also be useful. Okay, so I should have kept the other 1. All right. So that's good to know. So I'm going to go ahead and trigger this one here. So that is going to remove all of those tokens. It will flip it over and it's going to deal 8 damage. So I'll do 8 damage here. So that is going to drop him down to 14. I've got the pair of 1s. I need a second number so I can do that as well. But I don't want to activate that just yet, because depending upon what happens here, who knows. All right, so moving over to the other player now. I do have a lot of tokens. I could get 2 bonus dice this turn and see if I can get something good. I think that might be a good option. All right, so I got a 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, and 1. So I was able to get that ability off again. So that's going to give me 2, and it's going to do 10 damage, because if you activate this ability before using rerolls, deal an additional 3 damage. So I'm actually going to be able to do 10 damage with that one. So that'll bring him down to 4 hit points. I have 2 dice left. I have a 2 and a 1. So I do have that can do 1 damage. I do have this that can deal 1 damage. So let's do that. I'm going to trigger that. That deals 1. So it's going to drop him down to 3. And then this one will trigger. I gain 1 divinity and I deal 1 damage. So it's going to be down to 2, and I can spend 3, so it'll drop me back down to 3 to do 2 more damage, and that will eliminate him from combat this round. So I don't necessarily need to trigger that other ability there. And I have enough to add that one. Or I do have the pair of 1s, so I could keep building on that combo. I don't think I necessarily want to do that yet. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and move this up here instead and add a combo to that card. All right, so then I did eliminate him. So on defeat, truly the world is lesser for no longer having the Vizard. The Blizzard Wizard Lizard. You and the zombies bow your heads in a moment of respect. Players regain all set aside powers and refresh all powers. Each player gains 5 kill points. Remove this card from the game. All right, so this is gone. I get to refresh all of my powers. I don't think I get to refresh my roll, though. So I get to flip all these back over. So this one would have been flipped. That one would not have been flipped. So I get to refresh it anyways. And we each get 5 tokens, which I'm almost out of tokens here. Oop, I was adding these to the wrong spot there. Okay, so there's 3, 4, 5. And she gets 5. I got a feeling these tokens are going to go quick once I actually start using them. All right, so that guy is gone, so that's good. But this guy goes off, so he's going to do 2 frost tokens to each of us. And I might as well spend 2 points from each of mine to remove those frost tokens right away. So I definitely want to split those up evenly at this point. All right, and that is that round. So at the end of the round, a new monster comes out. So we have a dwarf ninja. From the distance, you see a small figure darting around with incredible speed and agility. It's a dwarf dressed in a sleek black outfit and wielding a pair of mini axes. You can't believe your eyes. This cannot be a ninja, can it? Though the dwarf ninjas were nothing but legend, the dwarf leaps high into the air, flips twice, and lands perfectly. Yet it's definitely, that's definitely a ninja. You're not sure what's more surprising, the fact that you're seeing a dwarf ninja or the fact that he's somehow managing to make ninja moves with the beard that would make even the most rugged man jealous. He's coming out with 20 hit points. Man. And his attack to the player with the most unexhausted powers. Choose a player in the instance of a tie. Okay, he wields and his special is he waves his hand across his face. As he disappears from your sight, the party rolls a die at the start of the round. If the roll is 3 or less, you are unable to see the dwarf ninja and cannot attack him this round. Oh, that's not very nice. Did we kill it? Okay, so I'll resolve that during that step. All right, so at this point, I am going to take a couple more turns off camera now that we have been able to get rid of the wizard, or the blizzard lizard wizard, or something like that. And we'll see what's going on after that. All right, so moving back in, I wanted to show this round as we are entering round 9, and I have revealed the elite. This is a super gnome bomber. Wait, this one again? You nearly roll your eyes in annoyance when you realize that this gnome, who could be identical twin brother to the other zombie, or maybe not, as all of the missing flesh makes it hard to tell. His bombs on both his front and back. Another difference are the 2 bombs of equal size it's carrying in each hand, primed and ready to blow. Now this guy's got 70 hit points, and he's going to deal a number of damage to the party and each enemy, resolved on defeat effects for each enemy defeated in this way. That's really nasty. And then we also have the special. The timer on this bomb reaches 0. At the end of the 3rd round, deal damage equal to this enemy's remaining health to the party. So that's not good either. The blast from this bomb is indiscriminate, blowing up friend and foe alike. At the end of the 3rd round, deal damage equal to his remaining health divided however you want to other enemies. And on defeat, if this is one zombie that absolutely isn't coming back, there's no way it survived. Each player gains 5 tokens. Remove this elite from the game. If this enemy died without exploding, you may choose a monster to defeat it instantly, gain its defeat effects. Whew, that's a lot of points to chew through. And luckily I've got her tooled up pretty good, so she should be able to dish out some pretty good damage here. But we're definitely going to be using some points. I've been able to store up my kill point tokens for a little while here, so I've got some decent stacks on both players. But yeah, with that bomber out there dealing 9 damage a round, things are going to get ugly quick. Yikes. All right, so moving into it, how do I want to do this? So first off, start of the round stuff, and to go over the other stuff. So I have the snowman out here still. He's got 12 hit points left, and the players choose how to handle him. And then I also have the monster teen zombie. So with the teen zombie, it actually duplicates itself, which I have to add another one to that. So it duplicates itself and the other zombies. So it says, where there's one teen, there's always more. At the end of the round, if a teen zombie is still alive, create a copy. The copy is a teen zombie's current health. This ability applies to copies. If the teen zombie dies in the first round, all players gain a frost token. So now there's 2 of them. All right, so I got 2 of them at 5 hit points, the snowman at 12, and the gnome bomber, super gnome bomber at 70. Whew. All right, so what do I want to do here? I'm going to spend 2 to add 2 dice to the round. And let's see what I can do here first. Well, first I got to activate her abilities. I don't want to get too overzealous here because her abilities are going to make a difference here. All right, so I have this one does 2 damage. I have this one does 4, so that's 6. This one is going to do another 4, as there still are no cards in the discard pile. So that's 10 damage. I get to prevent 1 damage, and I can reduce the cost of any one ability by 1 die this round. I feel like I need to dump it on the snowman because he does also have his special prevents players from preventing damage. I think damage prevention is going to be very, very important here. So I feel like I need to do that because I don't really have much else that's going to be able to deal a bunch of damage to him otherwise. So, yep, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do 10 onto him, so he's down to 2 hit points. And then I'm going to roll. All right, so I've got 3 1s, 2 4s. Okay, so that's good. So the 3 1s I could use to trigger that ability there, or this one, which reduces the cost of all abilities this round by 1 die for all players. So that would actually stack. So I'd be able to reduce the cost of 1 ability by 2. So I could trigger this one here, dealing 20 damage. Then that one to reduce the cost of everything. So I get a 4, 5, 6. I'm so close to that. But I need to trigger this one first. So I could roll this again and see what else I get. Okay, I got a 6. I could roll it one more time. I need another 4. And I got it. Oh my goodness, that's incredible. Okay, so I could trigger this one. That's going to reduce the cost of all of my abilities by 1, which actually helps quite a bit more. And then that one also triggers, so I'm going to get to reduce by 2. So this one's going to go off, dealing 20 damage. And that is definitely going on to this guy. So that'll put him down to 50. Okay. And then that one goes off as well. So there's all those tokens. So that'll get rid of that. And then I still have this one here that I can trigger. So I'll go ahead and trigger that. So it's going to deal another 10 damage. So that'll bring him down to 40. And then that one gets flipped over. That's 2 more dice, and I have 1 more die. So I can either add a token here or add a token there. I think I'm going to add a token here, and then I get to trigger my ability to add another token somewhere, so I'm going to add another one there. I think that's what I'll do. Okay, so Goes has done everything she can, and now all of my abilities are reduced by 1 as well, so this hopefully will make a difference here. All right, so there's a 5, 6, 3, and 1. So reduce the cost by 1, so I could trigger that and do 10 more damage. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that, but before I do that, I am going to, I think, spend some points. So I'm going to spend 6, so that brings me back down to 3. And I'm going to do 6 damage. To this guy here, so that brings him down to 34. So I was able to do quite a bit of damage this turn, so, and I'm not even done yet. So that's that. And then I'm going to trigger the quick strike. This one lets me choose 2, so I'm going to deal 2 damage, so that's going to take the snowman out. And I could prevent 1 damage, deal 1 damage to 2 different enemies, gain 2 divinity. I think I'm going to prevent 1 damage. I think that is actually going to be very important here. Okay, and then I'm going to trigger my ability here, and I did not need to use any rerolls, so I'm going to do 10 damage, and I gain 2 divinity. So again, I'm going to hit him, bringing him down to 24, and that'll flip this over. And this ability has been triggered as well, so that'll flip that over. All right, and that's everything I can do. So I'm going to prevent 1 damage here, and I prevent 1 damage with her as well. So I'm going to prevent 2 damage this turn. It's going to give me 3. So I'm going to spend those 3 that I got to flip these back over. Refresh her before I resolve the monster attacks, because I was going to get that, and then this guy is also going to get 3, and this gets shuffled back in, and then the monsters are going to go. All right, so this gets taken off, and then we have the super elite. So it's going to attack and deal a total of 9 damage to the party and each enemy. All right, so it's going to wipe out the 2 teen zombies. So they're going to go away. He's going to do 9 damage to us. Each one of my characters can prevent 1 damage, so I have to distribute 7 more damage. So I'll take 4 here. And I'll take 3 on this side. So I'll do 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And that wipes out both of the zombies. So when you wipe your brow as you see the teen zombies collapse. This could have been a true nightmare. Each player gains 2. Once all the teen zombies are defeated, set this card aside with 5 counters on it. So there's 5. Remove a counter at the start of each round. After all counters are removed, the special monster, not another teen zombie, enters the battle. Remove this card from the game afterwards. Okay. So that one's there. And I'm going to get 2 tokens for that. For each of my players. Which I'm basically going to cash those in plus 1 additional one from each player to reset again. Otherwise, I will not live through this. Okay. Lots of token usage here. All right, that is the end of round 9. I do have to bring out another enemy here. Okay, so I'll slide him over. A new one comes out. I did shuffle that, right? I think I did, right? It's the snowman, so there's another snowman coming out. So I'm pretty sure I shuffled that up. So 21 more hit points on the snowman. Okay, so he's going to be a pain as well. All right, and that was round 9, so we're into round 10. So we're halfway through the game. Okay. And then we're moving into the next round. So at this point, I think I'm going to take a couple more rounds off camera. I should be able to handle the super bomber. I'm going to do another 2 points there. So I'm not going to be doing a bunch with her this round, though. So I don't know. And I should... This is entering round 2, so I'll keep track of that up here. So I have 1 more round, I think, at the end of round 3. So if I don't eliminate him by that round, then he blows up and takes the rest of the damage from us. So I'll have to get her going again this round and try to pull through it. And then maybe be able to prevent some more damage here. Well, I can't with the snowman out. That's going to be a problem. So I'd have to take the full brunt of it. And then he attacks as well. I don't know if there's any way around it at this point, though. I don't have enough on her unless I start building up abilities and triggering them. There is 3 on this one. So if I add one more, well, even adding one more isn't going to matter. So I don't want to add one to that. So I could do 8 and prevent 2. So that would get him down. So I'd do a total of 10, bring him down to 14. So maybe. All right, so I am going to take a couple turns off, and we'll be back in a little bit. All right, so we're approaching the end here. I am moving into round 16, which means that the next big enemy is coming out. So I'm going to have a super elite enemy come out this time. So I get to draw one of those. And I have Valentra. So she is, unlike other monsters, this one looks familiar to you. Was it a past experience on the battlefield or a tavern drink-off? The tentacles coming out of her body should be a tip-off. And the way she seems to be constantly transformed, her body feels like something you should really be worried about. So she's going to have 50 health. Yikes. Okay. And what does she have? So she has an attack that divides up a number of frost tokens among the party. So I'll be taking 4 frost tokens. And then she has a special, the sun flies across the sky, causing her power to fluctuate. Roll a die at the start of the round. On a 1, 2, or 3, it is day, and nothing happens. On a 4, 5, or 6, it is night. And then she has some specials that she is going to be triggering as well. So let's go ahead and see if it's day or night. It is day, so nothing happens. So that's hopefully beneficial. All right, and it goes into our turns. So I think I'm going to start off by spending 2 apiece to add 2 extra dice to each one of my characters for the round. Because I think this is going to be an important round. I got 2 other enemies out right now as well, and I need to dish out some damage here. So first off, with Goes, she is going to do 1, 5, 9 damage to an enemy. So I might as well go ahead and hit the super elite. So that'll bring her down to 41. And then I need to trigger some abilities here. So let's see what we can do. Well, I do have, I can add 1 combo to something. I'm 1 away from that, which would be helpful this round, but what else do I have? This one needs 6. So yeah, maybe work on that one at the moment. Yeah, let's see what else I can do here. All right, so I've got 1 4 so far. That's not a great start to things, as I would love to get that one kicked off, as that one does 20 damage. I have a 1, a 5, I have a pair of 5s, so I could work on that one as well. What else do I have? Not a lot at this point. All right, I'm going to roll this all again for my second roll. So still only 1 4. So 4s I have a feeling are out of the question. I need 2 more to be able to pull that off. Well, I need a pair. So I could trigger this to add a combo token on there. And then I could trigger this one, which is going to do 10 damage. So that'll bring her down to 31 at least. And that gets flipped over. I can flip this over to add 3 tokens. So I'll do 1 there, I'll do 1 there, and 1 there. I have a pair of 6s. All right, so not much else I can do at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and spend 3 tokens to refresh, so I can do that at any point. And then I think I can activate that to add a token there. All right, and that is everything she can do. So, not a super productive round, but pretty good. All right, and then it's over to Dork. That's a lot of 6s. Okay, so I have 3 6s, a 4, 2 3s, and 2 1s. All right, what do I have here? I have a full 10. So I could spend 9 of that and do 10 damage. Might not be a bad option at this point. I do have a 1 and a 6 that I can start working towards that. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to spend 9 to do 10 damage. So that brings her down to 21. And that leaves me with this stuff. I could do a quick strike as well. I do have a pair of 6s, so I could activate that as well. All right, let's reroll these. I still need a 5. I got 2 shots at it. That's my first. That's about it, so let's try it again. And there's the 5. Okay, sweet. So I got what I needed out of it. I'm going to go ahead and activate this ability first. So this lets me gain 3 because this is the first ability. So that puts me up to 4, and it does 2 damage. So I'll bring her down to 19 with that one. And then with this one, I'm going to gain 2. And it lets me prevent 2 damage. Okay. So that gets flipped over. And then this one I activate as well. I get to choose 2. I can prevent 1 damage, gain 2 divinity. There's no point in adjusting any dice, I think, at this point. So I'll gain 2 more. That puts me up to 8. And I'll prevent 1 damage, I think. So that'll let me prevent up to 3 damage on her. And this gets flipped over. So I can prevent 3. This one's adding frost tokens. And then she adds frost tokens as well. And then she also has an effect here that goes off. So I've got a lot of frost tokens coming my way. This could be bad. And the best I can do is get rid of 2 per round. Ugh. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and spend 3 to refresh her because I got a feeling I'm going to need this. Oh, and I also get to refresh that roll on that one because I did refresh her ability as well. Okay. The question is, do I want to do anything else? I'm going to take a bunch of frost tokens here. Okay. Well, I think I need to start using these. So I'm going to spend 3 more from each player and deal a total of 10 damage to the enemy. So I'm going to do it onto her. And that brings her down to 9. All right, that is my turn, as I've done everything I can possibly do, I think, at this point. I spent a ton of tokens. We'll see if it pays off. All right, so first off, her ability triggers, her body transforms. After the player phase, choose one. Each player takes 3 damage. Each player gains 2 frost counters. One player takes 4 damage. One player frost tokens, gains armor. She heals. Each player exhausts all their powers, or one player takes 12 damage. Okay, so I think I will take 4 damage on this guy here, so he can prevent 3 of it, and I'll flip this over for the 1 there. Okay, so then this guy does 1 damage. So I'm going to take it with her, as she can prevent 1 with that, and then the wolf is going to do 1 damage. So I can take it. I'll flip this one over. Okay. And then it's going to deal basically 2 frost counters to each player. And then she does her thing, which is going to do the same thing. So I'll take 2 more with each player, and then I can get rid of 2. So he's down to, or she's down to 2 tokens left. So it's a good thing that I held on all these tokens, because I have definitely needed them. All right. And that is the end of the round. So we are into round 17 now. And a new monster comes out. So we have a Frost Spider, has 20 hit points, and it's going to be dealing Frost tokens to the party. So I'm going to add that one up here for right now, as I'm out of room. I really need to start hopefully picking apart some of these guys. All right, new round. I have to roll on her thing. Come on, low. All right, so it's still daylight, so that's a plus. And it is over to the players. All right, so first off, let me activate her abilities. So I'm going to deal 1 damage there, 2 damage there for 3, 4 more for 7, and the 4 down here for 10 damage that I can dish out. So I could finish off that one there, which would probably be good. Or I could spread it out a little bit. Well, let's go ahead and do... I could do 4, 8. I'm actually doing 11 damage. She's got 9 left, so I'm going to go ahead and finish her off. And then I'll do 2 damage to the wolf. All right. And then it moves into my turn. So, or our turns. So at this point, we're going to get that. So that's good. We really need to do some more damage here, though. So let me see what I can do. I can add 1 counter to something. What do I want to add a counter to? I'm at 3 here. I'm at 4 there. Well, let's see what I can do. Let's see what I can roll, and then I'll determine where to put a token. All right, so I got 2 6s, a 5, and 3 1s. So she really doesn't like rolling 4s. It'd be great to trigger that and be able to take them out. So I think I'm going to re-roll everything. This is my second roll. There's a couple of 4s. I do need 1 more 4 at least. With this ability, it does take 1 away. So let's give it a go. Let's see if I can get it here. There it is. There's a 4. Okay, I got 3 4s and 3 3s. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and trigger that ability. So that's going to take those 4 counters off, and that's going to deal 20 damage. So I'm going to do it on the wolf, as I really don't want to continue to suffer from all of that. Okay, so that takes care of those. And then I have 3 3s. So I'm going to go ahead and use 2 of them here to add a counter to that. And I have 1 more there. Okay. Not much I can do with this. I have that 1 free counter that I can put out. I'm going to do it on here. Okay, I think that'll be it for her. Okay, so we've gotten rid of the Super Elite and the Wolf so far. So I'm just going to kick him back over here, and I'll switch him out with the Spider, who has 20 hit points as well. Okay, let's see what else I can do here. So over to my other character here. 3 6s, a 3, a 3, and a 2. Oop. Okay, so I'm definitely not getting that off this turn. 3 6s, 2 3s, and a 2. So other than, I don't have a lot of other big damage dealing at this moment. I'm almost out of kill points as well. So I could just work towards this. I have 2 rolls to pull it off. I'll hold on to a 6, a 3, and a 2. I got a 4 and a 5. So I need a 1 to be able to do it. Do not get it, so I'll have to spend 2 to change this to whatever I want, which gives me 2 back and lets me trigger that to deal 7 damage, which I'm going to do on the Spider. So it brings him down to 13. All right, and that'll flip that ability over. Okay, so from there, then the dwarf goes, which I'm going to prevent the 1 damage with the dwarf with her, and then the Spider activates, putting out 2 frost tokens among the party and deals 1 damage from the hype dwarf. So it's going to add 1 to, oop, wrong tokens. Add 1 to each one of my characters. And then even its web is just more proof that it is adapted from the frozen lands. If a player gains frost tokens from the monster's attack, they roll 1 die on a 1 or 2. Okay, 3 and a 1. They get caught in its frozen web. All of their abilities require an additional wild die to activate the next round. We prevent this effect by spending 1, so I'll go ahead and do that. I knew one of my characters was going to get it. All right, so that takes care of everything there. So now I can resolve the 2 abilities for defeating. So the wolves collapse to the ground, then explodes into a very small pile of tokens. Apparently the rules governing this whole situation do not view this as a truly deadly encounter. Each player gains 2 kill point tokens. So there's that. And this one gets shuffled back into the deck. I only have a couple more rounds before the boss to try to deal with these different enemies here. Okay, and then when I get her ability, so it says, you finally recall where you saw her. To face her twice makes you shudder. Each player refreshes 3 powers, removes 3 frost counters, and gains 7 tokens. Okay, so I get to refresh 3 powers. So I get my powers back, as well as her. And then I get to remove 3 frost tokens per player, so that's great. that really helped. And then I get 7 tokens of player. Okay. So that'll bump me back up. So that's great. So I'm probably going to be using those during the boss battle. All right. And then she gets removed, I would assume, from the game. All right. And then this goes away. And this ticks up to 18. And the new monster comes out, which is a frost zombie. So it's going to have 28 hit points. It's got a lot of hit points. And it'll be placing out frost tokens. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to take a couple more rounds off camera and we'll be back to see how our players do for the boss battle. All right. So this is it. We are moving into round 20. All right. So at the top of round 20, I'm going to reveal the boss. So for the normal settings, I'm going to go against the ice elf lich. All right, so I have her card here, and this one says, I am the queen of the ice elves, the true ruler of the north. Even Santa Claus recognizes my strength and yields to me. And now I shall bend my strength to defeating you. Despite her over-the-top language, you feel she will actually be a formidable opponent. She's going to get 40 health. All right, so I'll add that there. And I was really fortunate at keeping the frost at bay, so she is not going to be as nasty as she could have been. So first off, she has a number of specials here. So her attack, she deals damage to the party equal to the number of frost counters on this boss divided by 3 rounded up. Next, the elf's aura pulls all frost from you. You almost thank her, but notice that she's using the ice for something you won't enjoy. At the start of the first round, remove all frost counters from all players. Place these counters on the boss. Next, she has the Necromancer creates a wall of ice to protect herself. The combination of Necromancy and Cryomancy feels a bit unfair. This boss gains armor equal to the number of frost counters on her, so that could be really brutal. Next, her magic pulls more snow and ice towards her, building up the wall even further. This boss gains a number of frost counters at the start of each round. And then on defeat, she sneers at you. Well, we won't get to that point yet. So she's going to add 2 frost counters to herself right away. And with the tokens, your character, you may only do this twice per round. Okay. So you got to beat her pretty quick. Or if you enter into this with a frost tokens, a ton of frost tokens. I wonder how that would work, because she has that armor equal to the number of frost counters on her. That could be absolutely brutal. And if you don't have any way of punching through that. Oof, okay. Well, luckily, she only has 2 on her right now, but I will have to get through her pretty quick here. All right, so starting off, the beginning of my turn here, I have some counters I have to handle with goes. So she's going to deal 2 damage, 6 damage, and 10 damage total divided up. He's got 1 hit point left on him. I'm okay with leaving him out at the moment, as he's not that problematic. So I'm going to go ahead and deal 10 damage to her right away. And that'll actually be dropped to 8 damage. So she's still going to have 32. All right. And then we move into the player phase. I think I'm going to need to refresh. I'm going to spend 3 there to refresh my powers over here. Okay. And I'm going to try to trigger some abilities here. So first off, I'm going to add a token. I've got 4 on that already, but I think that's probably going to be the best. And then I'm going to flip it to add 3 more. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1 there. I will add 1 there. That brings that up to 4. And 1 there. Okay. So it'd be great to activate the attitude adjustment at this point. That way all players reduce the cost of all abilities by 1 die this round. That could be very helpful. And the question is, do I want to spend tokens to get extra dice? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to cash that in. I get 1 back. I get 2 extra dice. All right, so there's my 4s. I need 4, 5, 6, so I could trigger that with that. So I think I will, and that's going to reduce the cost of all abilities by 1 die this round. Well, I do have that top ability too, so I'm going to go ahead and save the 4 because of that, and that reduces the cost of this by 1. And then I still have a 5, 6, and 2 with 2 rerolls. So I could go after that. Or I do have 4 on that as well. I could dish out some serious punishment there. And each ability would reduce by 1. So I could trigger it with the 6, keeping the 5, and then I could roll those again. It's a 4 and a 2. I got 1 more shot at this. Well, I do have the 4, so I could add 1 there, and then I just need a 3 or a 4. Nope. Okay. And I don't have anything else at this point. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to add another token to that. So that's going to bump that to 6. That one's taken care of. I still have a 2. This one triggers dealing 12 damage. That one triggers doing 20 damage. So that is 32 damage, so that actually will kill her. Kaplow! Okay. That all goes away. And then her abilities are reduced by 1 effect. And do I get bonus dice? I mean, at this point, I don't really need them. So let's see what I roll. I have a 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, and 2. Oh my goodness, I rolled everything that I needed there. So I could trigger that ability doing 10 additional damage and adding 2 divinity, which would max me out at 10, which then I could spend 9 of it to do another 10 damage if I needed to. So that'll take him out. And that is the game. So she sneers at you. You may have bested me, but I refuse to acknowledge acknowledge you when my full powers are shackled. Read ending B. So endings are here. Ending B. Okay. And this is... Ending B is you win with a question mark. The biting cold yields to the heat of victory after defeating the Queen of the Ice Elves. Amidst your celebrations and recounting of your best battle moments, the reality that the undead you fought were merely puppets to her will Makes you wonder if they would have behaved differently if they would have been on their own. Would they have been friendly, just as vicious, the exact same? It's a strange set of thoughts that you are unable to wrap your head around. Reality shifts abruptly, and you find your eyes flicker open to a scene of countless sleeping bodies. Wait, was this whole thing just a dream, or are you still dreaming? Were you always a dream, and you're just starting to realize it? Panic sets in, intensifying as the friendly gnome from the start of your misadventure materializes, grinning. First in 75 years to conquer my zombie game. A bit on normal mode, he exclaims, a mix of surprise and amusement in his voice. After a brief pause, his smile turns, excited, fanatical, cruel. He speaks 2 words, hard mode. Panic rises as magical bonds restrain you. You feel yourself fall into a daze, and then you awaken as you hear a familiar moan. A puppet-stringed, controlled zombie lurches forward, more appearing in the distance. But something is different. Are there more of them now? Okay, so it's teasing me to play the hard mode at this point. And that's it. So I was able to pull it off. My character here, she was very critical in this, and I was able to keep her combos going as I was able to hold on to some of the monsters for longer with them, especially that hype dwarf, man. He is super helpful. He only gives a little bit of a bump to other enemies, but holding on to him is very, very helpful. Well, that's it. I was able to make it through, and at the end, it was all just a simulation, a figment of my mind. I knew that gnome had more to him than met the eye. And this isn't even the true victory here. He has tossed me back into hard mode, so I'll have to try that and see if I'm able to have as much success. I was able to take her down pretty easily as I was able to manage those frost tokens, and that made a big difference. As if I hadn't, she would have been much more difficult, and I think I would have had a much harder time handling her. So I hope you found the video helpful in learning a little bit more about this game and deciding whether or not this is one you want to pick up. As always, if you have any questions or comments, please post those in the comment section below and let me know if I got any rules wrong, as I'm always trying to do my best, but I do make mistakes. So let me know if you noticed anything or something I could have done better or more strategic as well, as I'm always interested in learning new tactics. And until next time, I'll see you later.